40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and welcome to a brand new episode of I'm 40% Podcast. With me, as always, and his...
Mom, focus.
He's my best friend, he's my son, and we're the same age. His name is Nick Sahoyah, and he's here as per usual. Hi, Nick.
Hi.
You
I don't
doing
have
okay?
my pink light today, so I feel very self-conscious.
Wait, the
My
pink
room is
light
in
was
flux.
something you were doing on purpose? I thought that was just a circumstance. That was a curation?
Yeah, I'm not bisexual, but I do enjoy bisexual lighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is news to me. I didn't know you weren't bisexual.
No,
When
I
we
guess
met-
I'm just
when we met
blanket,
and you were-
blanket
when-
queer.
When we met and you were 18, you said you were bisexual, so I thought
Not
that
accurate.
stayed the same for our eternity. Anyway, no. I'm
No,
joking.
not accurate. That phase
I
was
know.
over around 16.
Listen, I know the things you've stuck your dick in. Our guest today is... He's not just my friend, Kevin. He's your friend, Kevin. It's your friend, Kevin. I honestly don't know. I mean, I know you as Kevin. I don't know if you have a last name. I only know you as your friend, Kevin. Is that your name across all platforms, Kevin?
It's my name across all platforms. Honestly, I just think my full name is really lame, so we're just gonna
Sure.
stick with your friend one.
Sure.
I'm
Your
too
friend
insecure for
Kevin, what would you label yourself? A fitness blogger?
Oh, just garbage influencer. I think that really covers it. Just person who's here to sell out as soon as possible, as quickly as they can. No, just an internet entertainer. I make YouTube videos. I do streams. I make fitness content, but whatever gets people watching.
Yeah. You also got a dog?
I do. I have one of those.
So
Tell us about your dog. No, we have to talk more about the dog.
It's the best part about me. So I have a husky. His name is Tango. And he's basically a cat. He just lies there. He just spends all day sleeping. And
That's Nick's
it's
dog,
aspirational.
too. I don't think LA is good for dogs.
Dogs are just very quiet. Forlorn here.
Totally.
There's nothing but hot pavement.
It's been tough. It's been tough with this weather, but it's nice. He has the entire house is AC where he loves to just sleep on my bed, and then he's got a front yard to just walk into and then walk out of. He just makes a little lap and then he leaves.
Kevin is a longtime Futurama fan and has politely requested many times to come on this podcast. He's a lovely friend. He's a gentle giant. Actually, I think I'm taller than you, but you are a tank of a human. Your physique is quite impressive.
Oh, I think.
And that's one hell of a mustache. So there's Kevin, everyone.
Kevin, yes, is a well-known Futurama fan. We know this. And you have a Bender tattoo, do you not?
I absolutely do. It's one of my
and it's in an
proudest
appropriate
accomplishments.
place as far as lore goes.
Oh, yeah.
Tell the audience.
Yeah. Oh, so during the pandemic, I got a tattoo of Bender on my ass because the movie where Fry has the time code.
Bender's
Big Score.
Score.
I
Not
just
Bender's game.
I love it. I think the concept of having just the most important thing in the world tattooed on someone's smelly butt is just the funniest thing to me. I love it. It's the only tattoo I'll probably ever get, which makes it more special. And
That is
it's
more,
just
yeah.
a little love
I think
letter
it's
to the
Fry's
show.
only
I like.
tattoo as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just funny because I had a friend come up to me. I hadn't seen him in a few days. And he was very excited to talk to me. And he said, Nick, I was just on a date with this guy and I was eating his ass and there was a Bender tattoo on it. And I said, oh, Kevin? So it's everyone's guess who that friend is. He was a guest on the podcast one time.
Cheers. Ooh.
First thing, Kevin.
Mystery.
You're going to get a lot of DMs now.
First
You're
thing,
just opening
Kevin.
up the floodgates.
Does it have the microscopic binary code that tears open a portal in the space-time continuum?
You know, I requested that when the tattoo was being, put on me. And I haven't gotten a strong enough magnifying glass to truly check. But, I mean, I was sold a product, so let's hope it does.
And then second thing, you brought it up, and I was going to bring it up when Bender says it's like looking into a smelly mirror.
Yes.
Why I know they say that Fry doesn't have good hygiene, but they really seem to emphasize that Fry's butt doesn't smell good. And we've all, I'm sure, in our own lives have smelt what bad butt smells like, It's probably my least favorite smell. It's probably my most hated smell.
Yeah.
Interesting,
We've all
true.
we've all been put in one of those awkward situations, I think. We're all aware.
We're no, we're
Unlike
not.
Fry, however,
He obviously has a smelly butt. He's a straight man. They don't wash
Listen.
back there.
Why don't they? Oh, it's because
They're scared of it.
if you wipe it too much, you might enjoy it,
Yeah.
and then you're gay.
You're gay. You're gay. If you let anything up there
If you
except a little
wash
bit of
it
water.
with your finger and it accidentally slips in, and you go, woo, and you like it,
Listen,
Well, you gotta
gay
be
then.
careful. It depends on what soap you're using.
that's true. That's true.
Should we talk about the
pH
episode?
balance, baby.
Yeah, the acidity in my soap turned my ass gay.
That's a kind of a conspiracy theory worthy of this
That's
episode of
why I use
Futurama.
All America Trump soap.
Yeah, that's why I use Dove.
Oh. Okay, this episode is called Rage Against the Vaccine. Original air date September 4th, 2023. We have
2
a
days
Chiron.
ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Don't tell people when we're recording.
Does it
holding-
ruin the illusion?
Yes.
You want people to imagine that this podcast is happening in front of the show as you watch it.
Yes.
I see. We're
Or-
lying.
Or the second you hit your podcast button, we sit down at our computers and do this live for you, which is what I want them to do.
Sure. It's like on Drag Race when we say last
Drag Race?
week.
Dragways.
Drag Race. When we say last week, but we mean
Are you
like
the
5
winner of
minutes
Drag
ago. Last week. And then you leave there believing that you were there for a whole year,
That's gonna be
What day
crazy.
is it?
That's
How are
insane.
people communicating now?
We have a Chiron. It says try unplugging it and plugging it back in. I think it's pretty funny. It's really simple. It's not very future-y, though, so I only give it 4 out of 5 Chirons. Kevin?
Oh yeah, 4 out of 5 for sure. I'm triggered by that sentence only because I work with tech every single day, and the amount of annoying problems that are actually solved by turning it on and back on. I'm just like, I can't believe this is the solution. Like,
It happens with
it
my
makes you just feel like
microphone
an
a lot.
idiot. Absolutely. So yeah, 4
Well,
out of 5 for sure.
That actually correlates to today's episode. Like,
Jinx, rate the Chiron.
3.
Stop dodging the question. Thank you. Now say your dumb thing.
No. You ruined it.
Fight,
Okay.
fight,
Go on.
fight,
Start
fight,
okay,
fight,
I will
fight.
say that this is the first episode of this season where I didn't think that the little scary noise at the beginning has anything to do with anything. I feel like it's this weird, like, fake out. Like, it's kind of like a horror sound because they're being resurrected once again. I don't know.
You might be right. I don't think it means anything.
I think we've been.
I think we
we've
got
tried
really
way
high.
too hard.
I think we got really high and recorded a podcast about Futurama. We get a hilarious reveal right off the bat. Like, we obviously know this is going to be an episode parodying the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing situation. But we find out that they are having a ceremony in the year 3023 celebrating the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, finally.
Okay,
Cheers.
that is very funny, but I want to start, before we get too into the episode, I just want to start with when the episode began. How did you both feel about knowing this was going to be a whole episode about COVID when it feels like we've just gotten over all entertainment being referencing COVID. You know, I feel like I, as a comedian, am wary to reference. Oh, shut up, you. I'm wary to reference COVID right now because I know how fatigued audiences are by that conversation and how much they want to kind of revel in this moment of feeling like the worst is behind us, you know? How do you both feel about seeing an episode about COVID?
Nick, you want to
Me
take this
first?
one? Yeah, I mean,
I'll say I personally don't understand everyone's fixation with pretending COVID never happened. It's like, oh, we went through that year where Donald Trump was president and it was the year 2020 and everything else in the world is exactly the same except for COVID didn't happen. That only makes sense in the MCU because Tony Stark probably would have done something. That's all I have to say. Put COVID in your shows. It fucking happened. I also like when sometimes they do this thing like in Worst Person in the World where they do a whole movie and then at the end it jumps forward 5 years and everyone's wearing masks and it's like, oh, smart.
Kevin, thoughts?
oh, yeah, so I'm on the complete opposite of the spectrum, and I'm glad I made you go first. Okay, so like, there's two sides of what I expect from a COVID joke. One, something I haven't heard before, and two, something that's not going to be exhausting. And with social media now, like, topical subjects are so hard to do well because good comedians and smart people can get to it first. So when you're a show that's coming out 2 years after the onslaught, you've got to come in with a really great idea. And I think that's the trap that a lot of things fall into. I think a lot of, like, you know, jokes are about putting on masks and then they're like, remember? Wink, wink. And I'm like, yes, I do. I didn't enjoy it. Move on, please. You're supposed to make me laugh now. And I will say, I think this show had a lot of heavy lifting to do just because of where my mind was already like placed. I think it succeeded in some things, but I don't think it succeeded in others. So I'm still a bit impartial.
I think I might be
I
right.
have no strong feelings one way or the other.
Yeah, there we go.
I think I might be right in between you two because
Oh, what a fun podcast.
oh my.
Oh my.
I think I'm kind of in between you two because I very much agree with Nick. I don't want to pretend like COVID didn't happen. It happened. We were globally affected by it and it changed everything. Some things for the better, you know, like it brought some things to light. And I think we, the general populace are like very riled up right now. Like,
Yeah.
And I think I think COVID was a catalyst for that, even though it was also a huge fucking tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel the same way when I hear someone say, so I'm going to talk about COVID. My brain is like, please have a new idea. Please have a new joke. Please don't just be, and so, yes, there were some really tired jokes, but I am sometimes just happy to watch my favorite characters just go through something I went through and see how they respond to it, So
For sure.
I don't know. Let's get into it.
I would love to, desperately.
You're such a jackass.
There's, just as the COVID pandemic is ending in the future, there's a new virus that affects mutants. It's going around in the sewers. It's called Explovid-23. And because of this infection, there is a travel ban to the sewers to reduce the spread. But then we see Leela climbing out of her own little personal tube, which if you're watching the video version of this podcast, you can actually look behind Kevin near the door on the right there. That's where Leela pops out.
Yeah, the tube, my shoulder's covering it up. It's for sure there. Leela's
parents, they're coughing in the sewers. They didn't think this through. Leela's coughing. Everyone wants to stay away from her. Everyone's worried about it. But then they go to the Everything is Normal festival where they were announcing the end of the pandemic. I think it's called the Back to Normal Festival, but I like the Everything is Normal Festival. And Bill Nye is introduced as the super spreader of truth, which I thought was pretty funny. Now, we can talk about this joke specifically, but Jinkx, I know that you have a story about Bill Nye, and I would like to just give you the floor to share it now.
What story do I have about Bill Nye?
From your childhood.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You have a story from your childhood. Okay, for people who forget, Jinkx and I both grew up in the Northwest. Bill Nye was a local celebrity in the Northwest before he was like a big podcaster, like CNN guy. And Bill Nye the Science Guy era. You like met him at an aquarium once and you thought he was rude and you were like 9 years old. You don't remember this?
Nick, this isn't me.
This is you.
I think that's
You used to tell this story all the time.
I've never met Bill Nye. This isn't me, Nick.
You didn't meet him. You were like at an event and he was
Are you
there.
confusing me with your other mom? I don't.
My other mom has never met Bill Nye.
I've never seen Bill Nye in real space.
You used to tell the story all the time because we used to get high and watch Bill Nye the Science Guy. And you said, I hate Bill Nye.
No, we didn't. That wasn't me. I'm so insulted right now. This is like when...
You didn't even know I went to Mexico, you bitch.
You go to Mexico all the time.
Whoa.
It wasn't me. We've never watched Bill Nye together. You are confusing me with someone else.
Listen, if anyone has a fun Bill Nye story, comment it below and fill this space for us, please.
Jinkx
We'll just
really
pretend it was
dropping the ball
Jinx's.
on the Bill Nye.
You've made this up or you've confused me with someone else, and I don't know how you've done that because I am pretty unique in your life.
Bill Nye declares that the COVID pandemic is over, but then he starts coughing because he got exploded from Leela.
From Leela. Leela is so fucking unhinged this season.
I love it.
Well, maybe that's actually a reflection of like Leela has, okay, bringing it back to COVID, we're all a different person after that lockdown, right? We all came out and all of us, you know,
Changed.
All of us changed. And I think some of us are just full alcoholics now. And maybe that's Leela's situation.
But Leela hasn't lived through a quarantine yet.
You don't know.
Excuse me?
Oh, wait.
That's right.
That's right.
There was the common cold. Thank you, Kevin. It's nice to have a historian on.
Thank you. I didn't get that tattoo for nothing.
So I guess we should say about Explovid, it has a mild cough, but the main symptom is it makes you angry and it makes you want to punch people.
Now, I do like this because...
This is pretty funny.
Because... Yes, what I like about this is the commentary from here on out is not about how much COVID sucks, but how much people suck when they have to deal with the mildest inconvenience.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yes, I agree. And I think that the punching is a wonderful metaphor for that. We go back to Planet Express and Professor has invented a test for Explovid. And it's a 7-foot-long Q-tip and he jams it up his nose. And I thought the really funny part was the smiley face or the frowny face for positive.
Absolutely. The Cyclops frowny face when Leela
the
tests
fact that
her.
hers had one eye for some
I
reason.
loved it.
Okay, now, from this point forward, the episode is just a rapid-paced free fall of COVID jokes. Like, it just goes... I mean, we've got the B-plot with Hermes that's about to get brought up soon.
Yes,
but literally, the A-plot is just watching vignettes of shit that we went through with COVID, but watching it with, like, the Futurama writing staff come up with really funny jokes around it. But
and
it
visuals,
is like...
There's some good visuals in here.
It is just like joke. Like the plot just becomes secondary.
So Leela tests positive and she is forced to quarantine in the Angry Dome, which was a callback I really appreciated. Do you remember the Angry Dome?
Yeah, when the professor just stomps around.
Stomping around.
So we cut to
I love that
President
they
Nixon.
keep her at work too. They're just, they don't even send her out. They don't even put her back in the sewer. They're just like, you stay right here,
No,
lady.
all of their major life issues are resolved at the Planet Express office.
That's how I do it. I bring my problems straight to work with me. I make it everybody's issue.
President Nixon is giving an executive order for everyone to wear masks.
No, an executive.
an executive aru, yes.
Oh my god.
And Scoop Chang is there. I was very excited to see Scoop Chang. He's got a couple of lines in this episode. I love Scoop Chang.
What is his news site?
The
called?
Daily. I don't know.
It was something very funny. I can't remember.
Well, I think we'll get back to Scoop Chang both in the past episodes and hopefully in future episodes. The Planet Express moves to remote work, and they have to use an app called Gloom. Did we like this Gloom bit?
Gloom did nothing for me. I mean, I liked the bits a little bit.
I like Bender eating silicorn. That was pretty funny.
Honestly, I think the only part of the bit I liked was LaBarbara's moment, because I just love LaBarbara so much.
When she's just friendly with Scruffy for some reason.
Yeah. and Dwight moonwalking in his little Jamaican briefs. But I just think all of the jokes... It was like, I liked LaBarbara's cameo, and then I liked at the very end the professor stands up and he's in his underwear, because it was like, I thought they had exhausted all the bits, and then he did that, and I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. But honestly, this was my least favorite of all the COVID jokes.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing felt new to me about the Zoom.
I think what was interesting about this episode is that it kind of allowed me to pinpoint exactly what I don't like what Futurama does. We're like, okay, allow me to try to explain this, because when Futurama just replicates technology, I get kind of sad, because there's nothing for your imagination to kind of like put in between the 1,000 years to imagine why they are using this kind of technology or what have you. Like, what is it? The episode where Leela goes to the Cyclops planet, like they're in the internet through like headsets and
they're in the metaverse, basically.
Yeah, basically. But that's cool, because it's like, oh, I get to imagine how society developed into creating that for them, versus like the Amazon episode where like items are just being brought in by drones. It's like, okay, we kind of have this already, and it feels unimaginative, and it feels like the world that they're building is actually just like, we'll throw it in there, you know? And I don't mean to be like, you need to imagine something new every time for me, the audience. But also, it does take you out of that fun, the originality of it all. And I felt that with this Zoom meeting. I was just like, yeah, but like, we've done similar things to this already in the show. Why are we on Zoom? Like,
I totally get what you're saying. I think it's very astute. My favorite is when they have futuristic technology that's old to them, so it resembles old technology to us, but it's futuristic. That's one of my favorite bits. But yes, the drones, I get it. Like, in 1,000 years, we're still just using drones. Mom doesn't have like a cannon at the top of her tower that just blasts the products into your house.
I guess the closest thing we got to like a Zoom upgrade was that Leela was able to punch Bender through the screen, which does sound nice. The professor orders everyone back to work, and he says, just wear a mask. And this made me laugh out loud when it cut to them in the office.
Not
and everyone is wearing the mask in a stupid place. Every time it did this, I laughed, because this was what it felt like for 2 years of like going to the grocery store, and someone's just like wearing it like on their ears, like on the top of their head.
It's like, what? And I love
Bender's wearing it over his antenna.
And then the next line Hermes has, once they're all gathered, is he says something like, because of this virus, we're all going to have to start practicing hygiene theater. So they all start really like showing off how they're going to take care of themselves.
That was a brilliant line.
And then Amy has, and then the next.
Yeah, Amy says, I heard there wasn't even a virus. It's a big hoax like the moon landing.
And the professor screams, you were on the moon last week. You were born on Mars.
And Amy says, that's what they want you to think.
I love it. And
Stupid.
of course, Amy being the richest among them, probably the most, conservative voting would be swayed by her parents or her, peers who are, it's this part. Probably this whole vignette was one of my favorites of the episode.
Oh yeah.
Hermes is convinced that this virus, because people are angry, is some form of zombieism. So he is going to turn naturally to voodoo. And I just want to say, I want to be careful. I don't know if voodoo's a real thing people practice, right? But it's not even called
absolutely.
voodoo. That's an American appropriation of these actual beliefs. So if I know anything from the paper I wrote on Haiti when I was 12 years old, it's that a lot of things that we think about voodoo in America are made up for American audiences.
Absolutely.
I don't know the specifics because I was 12 when I wrote it. It was probably not a good paper.
Now, my thought a little bit here is when we get to the end of the episode, I really love the message at the end of the episode.
I think it gets there.
Here's me kind of working backwards. If that's the message they wanted to say at the end of the episode, and then they looked at their cast of characters and said, who is most likely to dabble in magic? And you got characters from Jamaica. I feel like, they went for it. And I don't know much about voodoo myself other than what we've been fed in our pop culture and stuff. But I have a feeling it was voodoo because that was their vehicle to saying what they wanted to say.
Yes. And some of the sort of New Orleans mysticism stuff that we get into later, I think is worth the journey. There's some very funny stuff.
I was just in New Orleans. So this part resonated with me, but only because, all the fucking, easy local jokes about Nolans. I was like, I get that. I was just there, and I'm sure everyone
they
watching
made it for you.
Especially their straight audience, everyone. Oh, I did love you're going to New Orleans for Mardi Gras? No, it just happens to be Mardi Gras.
I've been to New Orleans a couple times. Fabulous city. Everyone should go visit and bring your money. Give them your tourism dollars. But I've never been during Mardi Gras. Kevin, have you had a Mardi Gras experience in your days?
No, I've never been to New Orleans. I did recently watch the newest Haunted Mansion movie though, and that's
it's in New Orleans.
I believe it was. It's about the extent of my knowledge.
Have you seen
which
Girls
I say
Trip?
I have none
They go to
knowledge.
New Orleans in that.
I haven't seen it.
Coven, American Horror Story Coven is set in New Orleans.
Oh,
New Orleans
please,
stuff
you
there.
won't find me watching that Ryan Murphy garbage.
Listen, it's witches, so I watch it.
You know what? That's fair. That's actually a very good point. That's
Doesn't Angela Bassett actually have a house in New Orleans? I think I walked by it one time.
Angela Bassett is a goddess. Carry on
Anyway.
with the episode.
She did that thing.
She did the thing. So I was a little disappointed that La Barbara was not joining Hermes on the journey to New Orleans. I was like, why doesn't she get to go on this adventure? But
It's because it's for
kind
the
of a reveal. Reveal later. Okay.
You gotta wear that big ugly trench coat over your dress, and it barely fits over your dress, but it doesn't matter because you gotta get to that reveal.
You gotta do the reveal. So they go to Grand. This is a hard word to say. Grand Cylindrical Station
I loved this.
instead of Grand Central Station, and it's the train
This is so
station
funny.
that we've somehow never been to. We've never done a parody of Grand Central Station in these 11 seasons of Futurama.
Because who cares?
I care about public transit, Jinkx Monsoon.
Yeah,
How
Jinkx.
dare you?
Oh my
What,
god!
you want there
it's
to be
my-
more
It's
cars?
my privilege showing.
You just
Oh,
want
it
your
certainly is.
chauffeur to take you
You're-
around?
Listen, I don't drive. I don't own a car. I don't swear I don't wrap my hair.
Your naked privilege with your Bender tattoo.
That makes me feel angry.
Go on.
Sorry, Kevin. Breathe.
Sorry, I was drinking my coffee. You caught me.
They go through the security line. There's a joke about an emotional support guide. I thought that was kind of funny. And Hermes is sat next to Petunia, who offers him hand sanitizer, and he says no, and she says, more for me, and she drinks it. So there's a bit of a woman who's trying to fit her husband into an overhead compartment, which turns into a very timely reference of a woman being a Karen to like a train steward. And then someone taking a video of him, and then someone taking a video of her, and then everyone's taking Karen videos of each other.
Okay. As someone who, one, has to fly a lot, and two, absolutely hates airports and being on airplanes.
This was a train station, Jinkx, so.
I don't care. It's the same fucking thing.
You literally said it was different. I might let it go. But...
I don't care. I need everyone listening. Listen, we all hate going to the airport. None of us want to fucking be there. So stop acting like you're the only one who is so put upon when you have to go through security or when someone asks you to put something under a seat. Everyone has to stop acting like they are the only one on the goddamn plane. Get these motherfucking narcissists off these motherfucking planes.
Also, if they ask you to check your carry-on suitcase, just let them do it. They do it for free. You get it almost at the same time. Just shut up. There's not enough room for everyone.
The way people cut each other in line at the airport, but they do it in a way where they just don't acknowledge that there's another person there. They pretend like you don't exist. It is
That makes me feel angry.
Thank you. Go on.
We get a joke of a professor. He's given an announcement. He has a vaccine that he's made. I was really nervous about these vaccine jokes, and then they got really, really funny.
They got funny.
Just as he's announcing his vaccine, Wernstrom flies up on his own podium and announces a competing but almost identical vaccine. And they have a competition about which one is better. And it's funny because their competition about which one is better is which one has the worst side effects.
Yes. My favorite part of this whole bit was, we heard your vaccine causes magnetism. That's a feature, not a bug.
He puts a spoon on his nose. There's a similar joke to that later where it's revealed that the professor's vaccine causes sterility. And he's like, yeah, that's what makes people angry. Everybody hates kids, and everybody claps.
Don't we all hate kids?
Yeah. And we get the return of Dr. Banjo.
Yes.
I love Dr. Banjo. He's really funny.
Him too.
He's like the poster
The
child
evolved-
of anti-science.
The evolved primate who believes in creationism. So fucking good.
It's really good stuff. And he has a podcast now. Obviously. Who doesn't? And he claims there's 5G chips in there. There's little tiny 5G chips in there. We're back on the train. The train flies off the track because the pilot of the train gets in a fight with the steward because they all have Explovid. And it flies, and it's funny because it's obviously supposed to look like a plane crash, even though it's a train. And they fly past a Mardi Gras parade where a robot is hurling scoops of gumbo off of a float.
The Gumbotron.
Was the name Gumbotron?
Yes.
It should be. If it's not, it is. I don't think I've ever had a gumbo. I've had most, New Orleans dishes that you're supposed to have.
But it's not my favorite Creole dish.
Do you like a crawdad? I like a fried crawdad.
Nah, crawdads aren't my favorite.
It's just a little cheap, accessible lobster. What's not to like?
I like Cajun
It's like a
gravy
plantain. A plantain
on
lobster.
fried fish.
It's tiny. And sweet.
Go on.
Kevin, lobsters.
I actually don't like seafood.
Oh wow.
I'm uncultured, I'm lame, and so when it comes to like this precise exact conversation, I'll dip out for a second. Excuse me.
Well, it's amazing that you got this body when all you eat is mayonnaise sandwiches.
That's yeah.
That's the secret. Wonder
What
bread
is she eating?
too.
Yeah, pork sausages and mayonnaise.
I suggest that you just haven't had the right seafood. Maybe you need to try a nice
It's
what
the
was
texture
it?
that does it for me.
Zoidberg. I mean Dr. Newberg.
I mean,
Dr.
Dr. Zoidberg.
Zoidberg.
You know what? That dolphin turtle
Turdolphin?
turdolphin. That looked pretty
Turdolphin.
delicious from the last few
No,
episodes.
You can't eat a dolphin.
only if it was a dolphin that blew all his money
Money on scratch
lotto
lottery
tickets.
tickets.
Not an intelligent animal.
Go on.
Hermes walks to Bourbon Street in the corner of Diet Coke Avenue. And he wades through a pile of barf and bikinis. And he goes to see the Romani big robot lady. What do you call her? I don't want to call her.
She is the fortune-telling robot.
The fortune-telling robot lady. And she's still pretty problematic. Still pretty funny. I liked when she shuffled the cards in her mouth. And she deals some tarot cards. Some of them are like the skeleton key, the this or that. My favorite was the man being crushed by a giant beignet card.
Hermes chooses the gumbo path
Yes, he chooses the gumbo path.
because he was craving gumbo.
Yes, but then he realizes that doesn't work, so he tries the skeleton key.
I will say, as a viewer, I was like, I don't know anything about Nolans. And then I watched this episode and I was like, I don't think the writers know anything about Nolans either.
They know about Narlan's tropes.
I don't think
Narlan's tropes.
I don't think a single other food was named
Well,
in this
here's the
episode.
thing. Here's the thing I just
They didn't
want to
even say
acknowledge.
crawdads. They didn't mention crawdads.
Here's the thing I want to acknowledge is when you're writing comedy,
Yeah.
Nick, when you're writing
familiar.
comedy, you have to sometimes think about what the audience is going to know. You know,
baby, I know it.
more people know about New Orleans tropes than they know about real New Orleans. So if you're even going to bring it up, you have to do... I remember one of my acting teachers said when I was playing a German character and I was like trying to do an accurate modern German dialect for someone who would have immigrated to America. And she said, listen, I know one thing about Germans. They replaced their W's with V's. You don't give me that, and I don't think you're doing a German accent. And I was like, all right, I'll dumb it down for you.
Back at Planet Express, the professor's mad no one wants to take his vaccine. He says, why is everyone but me stupid? And Amy says, because everyone but you is on social media, which I thought was really good. And they're wondering, where's all this disinformation coming from? And wild twist, we cut to Omicron Persei IA, where Jur is sitting at a computer spreading misinformation.
Trolling. So now they're being opportunistic. They see that the planet is weakened. Is this a reference to, like, Russia hacking
so.
our election?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Just misinformation on face bag.
Face
being
bag.
spread around,
Face
yeah.
bag. I think they've called it face bag once before, but I forgot that, so I laughed when they said face bag.
Me too.
We go around. I lost my spot. We go around. Leela's still in the Angry Dome. Fry is bringing her food, and this is where we get the Mad TV thing. There's a screen that displays what's going on in the Angry Dome, even though it's clear, and the screen is labeled Mad TV, just so they can have the joke. And Leela punches him through it.
I love it. That's the kind of dumb joke where I'm like, me, a dumb person can recognize. Like, you see all these like Reddit posts about like Easter eggs, and I'm like, right over my head. But that one, I was like, I got it. I'm smart.
Hermes following the skeleton. Oh no. Hermes following the skeleton key card. God damn it. No one's going to see this.
It's a reference to the episode.
No one watches the YouTube video. Every time you post a video of the YouTube, everyone's like, where is this? And it's like, just Jinkx Monsoon's YouTube. Just go on YouTube and search Jinkx Monsoon.
Where is this?
Master of the algorithm.
Oh my God. I'm so mad. We get to this graveyard. Hermes follows the skeleton. Shut up. We get to the graveyard. I want to talk about this new character who I loved.
The bones.
Je m'appelle Bonebot. He introduces himself. He is a robot made of bones. And he's been bones keeping this boneyard for the last 300 years. I loved this character. He was so funny. And Hermes was like, do you think that could be where the skeleton key is? And that like prominently displayed skull. And he's like, oh yeah, I didn't see that. I don't have eyes. And he says, I don't have eyes. Do you want to go for a ride? And it gets to live in a fan boat. Good stuff.
Okay.
No thoughts? Anyone? I'll just keep talking.
No, I thought it was incredible. I loved the character. I hope we never see him again simply because his last line was bon voyage.
He said
and
bon voyage.
I was like, great, excellent, wonderful.
Mic
I never
drop.
want to see him ever again.
You know what
That's
I
perfect.
like is that there's characters you think you're never going to see again, and then we see them for a blip later because,
absolutely.
because they apply to a joke. So, I mean, and we learned with the obsoletely fabulous episode that robots can be made out of many different materials.
They
They
can be
don't
made
have
out
to
of
be metal.
wood,
So
yeah.
the idea of making a bone bot is just so good. They just took a bunch of human bones and glued it to a robot with circuitry.
Oh. They go to this, like, I guess a voodoo hut, and I feel weird even saying that because it's such an Americanized trope, but I guess they go to a voodoo hut and he says bon voyage, and
Probably my favorite line in the show. I don't know why. I just latched onto that
perfect.
mentally.
It was
loved
perfect,
it.
and you thought you had gotten the best of the bone jokes behind you, but then they saved the best one for last. They really did.
Absolutely.
We go into the voodoo hut, and who's in there? None other than Barbados Slim. There's just a cavalcade of characters I was not expecting to see in a COVID episode. The Omicronians. We've got
Barbados Slim. Now, Barbados Slim, for me, this character is starting to wear out his welcome because it's just the same joke over and over.
That he's fucking La Barbara.
is having an affair with Barbados Slim, and Hermes is just kind of complacent with this.
It is okay. We need to address this because it is weird.
Why can't
that
they just be in a polyamorous
Why
marriage?
not? They would be happier.
Yeah, they keep like really focusing in on cuck Hermes, especially, and it's also just, it's really weird, especially when you have episodes that focus on his relationship with his children. So it's not even like, it's a weird dynamic, and they keep pushing it harder and harder. And I'm like, is no one gonna address this, or are we just gonna keep going around?
Well,
It's awkward.
I do like that they often affirm that Hermes and La Barbara's love is real. And it seems like the main conflict in their relationship is that La Barbara is unfaithful. But if the love is real and La Barbara is just going to sleep with Barbados Slim anyway, I should think they should come to some sort of a polyamorous open marriage relationship deal. And that could be quite progressive for Futurama to talk about. I mean, they talked about robot-human marriage. So...
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that Riverdale ended with Jughead, Archie, Betty, and Veronica in a 4-way relationship?
No.
That was the last episode.
No. Does that mean Jughead and Archie do it?
No, very specifically, you only see Betty and Veronica making out. They fucking chickened out.
Thank
Interesting
you,
if
cowards!
true.
Like Cole Sprouse wouldn't make out with fucking
Cole
KJ
Sprouse
Appa. They would do
loves
it.
trolling the status quo, and I love Cole Sprouse for that.
Cole Sprouse, come on the pod.
Sprouse!
I really would
Or
like to talk to
Dylan.
Cole Sprouse.
Or
I have a lot of
Dylan.
questions.
They'll
Bring
take
him
Cole
both on.
Sprouse.
Dylan's a little less busy these days, right?
Well, he's doing the wine.
He's not acting.
He doing the wine.
Come.
There's
Sprouse Vineyards.
Barbados agrees that Barbados. By the way, the Omicrons have arrived. Like while this is going on, we saw them fly above. I forgot to mention.
But then
So
they
Barbados-
immediately get sick, so it's not really a thing.
I know, but we'll get to it. But Barbados agrees that it may be some kind of zombieism. So they need to consult the smartest voodoo person, and it turns out that it's just La Barbara. And I'm like, La
And
Barbara,
she's just there.
She's just there.
And it just came.
She
I don't
took
know
a
why
private
she
jet.
didn't-
She
has
didn't
a
take public
key to
transit.
Barbados.
She has, and it's funny because it's treated as this like mystical bone key that you have to get through like a voodoo tarot ceremony.
She's just got a spare.
So the three of them decide to go into the inner sanctum to find the cure for Explovid, and the inner sanctum is just a medical lab.
He says, "What dark sorcery is this?" And it's just a highly advanced scientific lab. They very quickly find a cure. They test it on Hermes. It works, but I love that they have to administer the shot through a voodoo
doll. So stupid.
And then, they return. They're vaccinating everyone, and
we missed the Omicron variant.
Okay, go
joke
ahead.
Because
Give us.
the Omicronians.
Show me what you got.
The Omicronians are giving a press conference about how they're going to take over, but then they get exploded, and it's a rare Omicronian variant. So we finally, 2 years later, how long ago was that shit? The Omicron variant. We finally get the payoff that we were all making jokes about when the Omicron variant happened.
I forgot about the variant. And when he was saying that, I was like, oh yeah, there were variants. I forgot all about Omicron. Oh, okay. Take us. So they're administering the vaccine.
There's like
to
a line
everyone.
in front of Planet Express.
They already had voodoo dolls made of everyone on the planet.
Every single.
Because every time something happens to Earth, it all comes down to Planet Express in New York, New York, to solve everything. So everyone in Earth has to go to the Planet Express office.
With like a fold-out hut just in front of their front door.
And I love that Dr. Banjo says, you promise that there's absolutely no science in this? And then they administer the cure, and Hermes... Oh, I did love that when they give the professor the cure, the needle goes straight through his arm.
Through his arm into his chest. Yeah.
Yeah. But then Hermes ends the episode on a lovely line that I thought was really cool because it felt like it was kind of acknowledging, there's a growing practice of witchcraft and spirituality right now in people who don't disagree with science, who just like to welcome in all that life has to offer. I'm talking about myself.
Yeah.
So it was cool that Hermes ends the episode with the line, highly advanced magic is indiscernible from modern science. Sinus.
You almost got there.
Nailed it.
But what I like, besides mentioning witchcraft and stuff, what I like is that this is commenting on that there is still things to learn. There is still value in ancient customs, ancient cultures around medicine and healing. I don't know. I think this
I'm
is a
going
really
to
cool
allow
ending.
this.
I liked it.
Thoughts?
I liked it.
I completely agree. I agree with your sentiment. I think this could have been I don't know, how far back do I get to go to re-engineer this episode to make it something that I think would have been more successful?
What's your pitch?
Should we get analytical? Can we get a
they're
little...
about to start animating, but you get to change something fundamental.
So Jinkx, just to build off your idea, I think this could have been like a similar version of the Calculon episode where they bring him back to life with Satanism, but just like with a little more heart, like you said, where we compare this idea of like, I don't trust science, but I trust magic, with a little more like, witchcraft doesn't have to be the enemy, but we do have to kind of agree on something to collectively get through it.
Well, a lot of modern witches, I mean, if you think about what science is, it's combining chemicals, it's combining compounds, it's combining substances to create something new. That's what witches do on a, like when I'm grinding up my flower petals and my herbs and I burn them, the something new I create is the spell or the mindset that I create by doing the ritual. But, I say
the same thing when I fart. Absolutely.
What I see with this is that, like,
thank you.
Because if you talk to a lot of modern witches, they also believe in science, but science and magic don't have to be at odds with each other because they are essentially, I mean, it's all fucking alchemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saying all that in the glasses, you did start to look a lot like a cult leader, but should we go to the questioning?
Yeah, like wizard Willy Wonka.
What's that middle plane in the sky? I mean, middle bird in the sky. Okay.
What I will say though about this episode, I think it would have been more successful had it started at the point where the Omicronians bring the variant in. Because the whole thing of like, oh, we've been dealing with 1,000 years, we're over it now. I was like, have you though? It doesn't look like you have, because I don't know. It's cute to say like, oh, finally after 1,000 years we solved the problem, but it's like, okay, is that a joke or is it just a sentence? So I would have had like kind of similar to the Cold Warriors episode where no one knows how to deal with this thing, and then the jokes ensue from the characters dealing with it for the first time. But I also just I didn't really understand the zombie-ism. Like, I feel like until the end of the episode, you're like, but is Hermes right? What is this something I can trust as a source? Or
I think this is a commentary on people acted brainless during
for sure
the pandemic. And the main symptom being anger is a commentary on how people behaved during the pandemic. And I think the zombieism thing is a little bit like a lot of people weren't really using logic. They were just like going with, this person said this, I'm following this now. No, this person said this, I'm following this now. Or I feel this way, so I'm not regarding anything. And what did the professor say? Everything I don't understand is fake. That was everyone's mentality. Not everyone's, but that was a lot of people's mentality. So I don't know.
I just wanted more visual clarity between like who was sick and who wasn't. So if it was zombieism, I wanted either like a visual reference of zombie-ishness or just like to double down on the fighting, so it wasn't so much like we're sick and we're also punching. Like I just wanted more like clarity with that, so they can make more jokes about it.
What if they had red eyes?
Yeah, it's like if they've done that before, where everyone affected by something, their pupils get dilated or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that would have helped. I agree with you there.
But I will say, I went into this episode being like, all right, here we go. And then I was pleasantly surprised with how often I did not roll my eyes. I was like, oh, no, okay, I'll allow it. I will allow it.
That's how we felt about the Christmas episode. I think, shout out to this Futurama writing team. They are taking episodes that could be a chore and making them fun and pleasant.
Yeah.
Because even if some aspects of it were tired, just the material, the content, the parts that were funny were so fucking funny. I mean, we were laughing our asses off just reviewing the episode just now.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I think, it's a good sign that even the episodes we're not looking forward to in this season are pretty damn good. So
absolutely.
I agree.
And this is definitely a rewatchable episode. I won't be like, if I'm falling asleep to this one, I won't be skipping it or anything. No, not at all.
Kevin, you're a fan of the podcast, or at least I assume with how much you've spammed me about being on. You asked once. You asked once.
I specifically remember if you had a hole in your schedule, I offered to fill it.
Listen, okay.
I'm just filling holes.
You know the compulsory questions, so let's go for it.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Of all the Futurama characters, who do you most relate to?
Leela. Okay, Leela, but angry Leela. None of this,
This Leela.
none of this complacent in a relationship now, Leela. I relate to her as a centaur punching bitches.
I relate to alcoholic Leela. Current Leela.
I relate to vulnerable Leela.
Aww.
All right. Next question.
That just raises further questions.
Of the Futurama universe, who would you do?
Ugh, I've thought about this for a while. You know what? It's between, and it just depends on my mood. It's between Amy and Lars. There's something about Fry. There's something about Fry. Just have his personality completely different with a deeper voice.
Lars?
I'm just like, I'm down.
Fry from the past and the future. Bald with a goatee.
Bald with a
Balls
goatee.
with a goatee.
Deeper voice and has a
Lars
job.
'Cause he
thinks I'm
inhaled the
dreamy.
smoke.
Shut
wanna-
the hell up. It's from
I think I wanna
The
bang
Big
Fry
Rift.
as long as he's completely different and changed in every way.
Wow.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to fuck Fry, and I think you have found an interesting loophole because Lars he's much more put together, isn't he? And then that's why it's so tragic when he dies.
Yeah,
He's
and
dead.
then you just collect the
Remember.
insurance money and you never have to worry about him again.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to date someone who is destined to die.
Well, imagine how much sympathy I'll get when they pass away, and I'm like, who could have seen this coming?
Kevin,
Bring
this
me
is
flowers.
horrifying.
No,
What are you saying
it's
about
fine. It's
yourself?
fine. Oh, wow.
Our final
Listen.
question for you, Kevin.
Glass houses,
I
glass
still don't
houses.
have a button for this.
Excuse me.
Mom, what do I push for the third question? What should I do? What about this?
Never mind.
No, I already used that one.
All right,
about-
the final question. I don't know. This feels like
There's
such a
just not-
stupid final question because we just
There's not
sat
one for
here
this,
praising
I'm
the
sorry.
episode. But will you continue watching Futurama?
Nope, I'm done. The whole point of being a Futurama fan was just to meet you. So now that that's done, I think I can give it up.
The tattoo and everything.
Yeah, this was all a long
You really
con.
commit.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Listen, I am insane, so that's how we do it.
Well, mental health is nothing to joke about. Anyway, no. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being our guest. Thank you all for listening.
Did you tell people where to go follow Kevin?
Oh, yes. Well,
Oh.
we said at the beginning, but at
Do it
your
again.
friend
Be a
Kevin.
good
You know
at
what,
your
though?
friend Kevin on Instagram.
I will
Is it
say-
the same on Twitch?
It is. You guys can follow me on Twitch. I primarily make most of my nonsense content on there. Come say hi. Come chat about things that we enjoy. I will say though, however, I am. You can edit this out if it's too racy, but I am currently selling my used underwear for charity.
I think that's fine.
So, yeah.
I think we can do that.
If you maybe are listening to this and that's something that floats your boat, message me on any platform, and that's something I'm
No,
raising
when
money
you
for.
say used,
Never mind.
maybe say worn underwear.
Worn, great.
Used feels
Should we do this
like...
again? I was.
No.
Well, that's the thing. I was
No,
like,
no,
here's the
no.
thing.
No, I think Kevin knows what he's doing.
Cheers.
I think
Cheers.
used is correct.
Cheers.
All right. So follow at your friend Kevin on
And what's the charity?
And
I'm
Twitch.
raising money for it's SWAP, Sex Work Operation Sex Work Project. It's an organization that protects sex workers all throughout the
Good.
US.
That's an awesome cause.
Yeah.
I will take this moment to gush about Kevin. Kevin is
Oh,
a
no.
very aesthetically pleasing human who uses
Nick, press the planet. Press the planet.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Kevin oftentimes does sexy things for charity, and I think it's really cool.
And now press
he
the
al-
shut up, baby.
He also
Shut up, baby, I know it.
he also has a Patreon if you want to throw some money at him. It's a spicy Patreon, but not too spicy. It's a medium spice.
It's a media spicy.
It's an Arabica sauce.
Lady.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next Monday with a brand new episode. Until then, have a futuristic day, everyone.
Wow.